Hello. Hello. Okay, I think the audio is working. Let me know how it sounds, if I should get louder, whatever I need to do. I will take your guys' cue. I'm bumping up the volume a little bit. I think maybe that's a little bit more balanced with the intro. It's all about balance, you know what I mean? Because when I edit videos, you do the same thing. You have to like balance all of the audio clips. The biggest pet peeve of mine is when you're watching like a YouTube video and then it's just like they're cutting to different like things and then the audio levels are different and it's just like fuck. Jesus. Just like that was too loud and now that's too low. So yeah, okay. All right, thank you guys. Thanks for the audio check. You guys are like my team, I get live and I'm just like all flabbergasted. I haven't done this in like 6 months, so I'm like kind of nervous. Anyway, Merry Christmas. I guess it's December. Got Christmas gear going up in this room. As you can see, it's a different room. I don't have the green wall yet. So, I'm gonna get this wall painted at some point. I'm in a different place. Move back to the city. And that's it. I like the city. People talk shit and it's just like, alright, well, I mean, you do you, but like, I love both upstate and the city. And I think it's only fair that after the I don't know, I call them like the Antifa. I think they're Antifa, the burlesque girls that got me canceled. One of them in particular was particularly nasty and wanted to ruin my life, so she put a false tip to the FBI, which resulted in a like 5-year delay in my husband's visa to America. So it was like 5 years of that, and then it was like him getting here, and we were upstate a little bit. And so it's been like 7 years total of us being together and not being able to live our life together. And I think it's only fair that we, I mean, because even when I lived with him in England, it was like we weren't able to like buy nice things like furniture because we're like waiting for the visa. You know, like everything was just like on hold. It was like waiting. We never really got to live our life. And so now we're in New York. It's like, let's live our life. Like, all those years lost being in New York City, networking, and he's an immigrant, so it's like, yeah, we want to go up to the country. He loves it upstate. That'd be a great place to like raise a family and buy a house and all that. But like, what's he gonna do? He doesn't know anyone. He's got to build a business. We have parties to attend, things to go to, people to meet. So let's live our life that we missed out on in the city a little bit before we head upstate. So that's what we're doing, so relax. But speaking of the city, so that's my like whole spiel about like the city. So when I get to this next story, please do not go in with the like move to the country, get out of the city thing. Yeah, I got it, but it's the greatest city in the world. Let us network, let us build our business, let us live the life that is owed to us because we lost out on 7 years, 5 to 7 years, okay? So it's not fair that the left took that from us. We're kind of doing our thing for a few years. Like give it like 2 years in the city and then we'll go back upstate. Like 2 years is nothing. 7 years went by. 2 years will fly by. Anyway, so let me catch up on you guys. I'm really glad to have you guys in here. Again, I'm really nervous and it's nice to see you. Every time I get back on stream, I'm just like, oh man, look at these familiar faces. Hi Dan, nice to see you in here, and Daniel. So Dan Smitham and Daniel Romano, thank you, nice to see you. Hey Jay, thanks for coming by. I thought you were in class. I'm glad you could come by. Ali RX, yes, I'm back. Thank you. Nature Slayer, great name. He's got a Croatian girlfriend, so awesome. He seems to be happy that we're back as well. And Patriotic Gestalt, thank you so much. We got a donation during the intro already, so let me just like play like a donation playback just so that we don't have that lost. Let me give that to you. Okay. You said, I got your comic class month, just FYI. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's another thing, guys. The comic book is completed and finished. It's just out of frame right now. You cannot see the piles I have going on. And there's like a big heavy box over here and piles of packages that I'm ready to mail out. And, well, I got to tape up and mail out. But a lot is happening over here. And, I'm really glad people are getting them. I'd like to see what you guys think of it. Makes me nervous, but yep. Man of Action, nice to see you. Hello, hello. Hi, Joe. Demina. BMT Lines, hey, how are you, buddy? Philip Daniel. Yeah, Philip Daniel said, if I had known about your stream ahead of time, I would have recommended music by post-impressionist composers. That sounds awesome. I don't know if there's a copyright issue with that. To accompany your stream, he says, but that is a really great idea. I love that. And you know, this post-impressionism stream is going to be good. I will get into it, but you know, the left tend to shit on impressionism, post-impressionist, modern art. I think what they mean is contemporary art, but they do kind of go back to that kind of phase and say that's where it all went wrong. And I kind of disagree. I used to agree with that concept when I was studying like AP Art Portfolio and art history in high school. But as I've gotten older and like more and more into the arts, like I have this appreciation for it and I really like it. And in fact, I want to do some Lady Alchemy music. And I am classically trained. I do know how to read music. I did NISMA band festival, solo festival. I can play multiple instruments. I could read music. I haven't done it in quite some time, but it's kind of like riding a bike. It's a little shitty to get back into it, obviously, but it doesn't go away. I still know how to do it. So I would like to make music, but I want to do like avant-garde, experimental, weird music, because, I don't know, I'm a weird New York artist, man. What can I say? So that I actually do like Impressionism and Post-Impressionist and modern art. Don't care for the contemporary, which is what people tend to call modern art, which is the art of today. There can be some good ones, and it would be fun to explore, especially in New York City. But I think when people say modern art, I think they mean contemporary. But modern art, which starts in like 1800s, I mean, even post-impressionism is over here. We're starting out in 1886, so it actually goes a little farther back, and I kind of like it. The self-portraits I've been publishing are very impressionist kind of style, so it's cool. Okay, so sound looks good. I'm just catching up on your comments a little before we get into. Philip Daniel says, my own compositions on my channel might be weird enough for you, branching off from Scriabin and Schoenberg. I don't know how to say those, but I don't know, man. We did just like Tchaikovsky, and this is not post-impressionist music by any means, but we did I think Rhapsody in Blue was a really great one that we did in band. Great clarinet piece. I played the clarinet during that time. I played flute and clarinet in bands growing up. But when we did Rhapsody in Blue, I was playing the clarinet, which is a really fun piece for a clarinet as well. So I know like those names, so excuse me if I'm not saying that correctly. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? I had everything all set up, and I forgot that I should probably have the music playing in the background. So keep me posted on how the audio sounds, because I don't know if I did the thing with the mic that kind of auto corrects any noise, and like I did like a whole thing with the mic settings, and it sounds really good when you do that, but what it does is then it tries to like auto correct the music in the background as if it's noise. So if that just starts sounding choppy and weird, let me know, because that's what's going on there. I think I've turned it off. Let me see. I put the piano music. I thought I had everything all sorted. And I forgot piano music. Ah, piano music. I think that's a good volume. Again, keep me posted if it's interfering. Why is that donation not showing up on my thingy-majigger down here? Because I have Patriotic Gestalt and gave 20 bucks. I don't know why it's not showing up. I signed into Streamlabs for the first time in 6 months, and it showed a new link. I don't know if that's what it is. It normally is streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV. But it gave me like a new link, like /Martina Markota TV/tip. Not sure. You could always do PayPal or something. YouTube takes a third cut, and it takes like 2 months to get the money, but whatever. Like, I don't do whatever feels comfortable for you. Hey, Tall, Dark, and Gruesome. Nice to see you. Okay. So we are going with this post-impressionism here. Post-impressionism. By 1886, most critics and a large segment of the public accepted the Impressionists as serious artists. Now, you'll remember in the last one, maybe you won't remember, but if you go back to the last stream we did on Impressionism, it was really interesting because there was, I think Whistler was the one who did some very splattery kind of impressionistic paintings and got into some lawsuits, and even the judge awarded him, but it was like $1 or like a penny or something, and kind of criticized it as like a mockery. They thought it was a mockery that they're doing. That's kind of how the right talk about it today, but this is interesting that in post-impressionism by 1886 that most of the critics, which were originally very, very critical about this kind of artwork, and the public were also very critical of the artwork, but by this time they were taken as serious artists. Just when their images of contemporary life no longer seemed crude and unfinished, however, a group of younger artists came to feel that the Impressionists were neglecting too many of the traditional elements of picture making in their attempts to capture momentary sensations of light and color on canvas. These artists were much more interested in systematically examining the properties and expressive qualities of line, pattern, form, and color. Because their art had its roots in Impressionism, but is not stylistically homogeneous, these artists have become known as the Post-Impressionists. Oh god, here comes the names I don't know how to say. So we have Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. Oh yeah, okay. That name. Closest to the Impressionists in many ways was the French artist Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. Lautrec? Whatever. Excuse my pronunciations. 1864 to 1901. Who deeply admired Degas, Degas, and shared his interest in capturing the sensibility of modern life. Toulouse-Lautrec's work, however, has an added satirical edge to it and often borders on caricature. Genetic defects that stunted his growth and in part crippled him led to the artist's self-exile from the high society his ancient aristocratic name entitled him to enter. He became a denizen? I always love learning a new vocab word. Let me just look up what that is real quick. It's always interesting to do that. It's actually, we tend to do that in the etiquette streams, which we should get back to that as well. Definition.
Denizen.
Yeah, denizen. An inhabitant or occupant of a particular place. Okay. Denizen of field and forest. An occupant of a place. Okay. So what was it? So I guess he had some genetic defects and that stunted his growth and crippled him, and so he was exiled himself from high society that his name offered him, and he became a denizen of the night world of Paris. Ooh, sounds fun. Consorting with a tawdry population of entertainers, prostitutes, and other social outcasts. I was gonna say, oh, like me, and then they got to the prostitute part, and I was like, oh. Entertainers. He reveled in the energy of cheap music halls, cafes. Love it. Nothing wrong with that. And bordellos. At the Moulin Rouge, figure 13-7. Let me bring up this for you real quick. There we go. In this one, this painting reveals the influence of Degas. It does actually. It reminds me of like the ballerinas that Degas would do. Of Japanese prints and of photography in the oblique and asymmetrical composition. The spatial diagonals. I think Degas also did these diagonals, and the strong line patterns with added dissonant colors. But Toulouse-Lautrec so emphasized or exaggerated each element that the tone is new. Compare, for example, this painting's mood with the relaxed and casual atmosphere of Renoir's Le Moulin de Galette in the other chapter. Let me see. 13-4. Let's just compare real quick. 13-4. We're going to compare this painting with 13-4. With this Renoir, I mean, we could state the obvious that it's totally different atmosphere, but it has a similar vibe of the painting, sure. Oh yeah, here's the ballerinas that I was talking about. But anyway, let's go back to this one. Toulouse-Lautrec's scene is nightlife, with its glaring artificial light, brassy music, and assortment of corrupt, cruel, and mask-like faces. He included himself in the background, the tiny man with the derby accompanying the very tall man, his cousin. Oh my god, let me see. Oh, that's him! Look at that. Ooh. Aw. Yeah, this is a derby, that type of hat right here. He's like the little guy with his cousin. Ooh. I love that lady's face. Very, I said mask-like. So cool. Neck. Oh, yeah, my neck cracked. Something about being on the computer where it's like you lurch forward and I'll just zoom in a little bit on this. Such distortions by simplification of the figures and faces anticipated Expressionism, the last chapter, when artists' use of formal elements, for example, brighter colors and bolder lines than ever before, increased the impact of their images had on observers. Yeah, so something about Impressionism, which you can see in the Post-Impressionists, is the, like, intense lines. That's something I always remember about Impressionism. They kind of, like, in painting, you don't really do that. You don't create lines around an object. You just keep adding color until the shapes form. There's shading, and those things form the shapes. But something interesting about Impressionism is like they actually like outline things. Like a coloring book has an outline, and it's really unique to that style. Hey, Four Strings. He said, oddly reminds me of Severini, though he's futurist. Yeah, futurist is really interesting. Yeah. Then we have... Oops. Oh, let me just go back to this real quick. I forgot to just add a little bit about it. So this is Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec at the Moulin Rouge, 1892 to 1895. Oil on canvas. It's 4 feet by 4 feet 7 inches. And it's at the Art Institute of Chicago, in Chicago. Helen Birch Bartlett Memorial Collection. The influences of Degas, Japanese prints, and photography show in this painting's oblique composition, but the glaring lighting, mask-like faces, and dissonant colors are Toulouse-Lautrec's own idiom. Cool. Then we get into Seurat. Or if it's French, do we say Seurat? Seurat? I say Seurat. Whatever. The themes, George Seurat, 1859 to 1895, addressed in his paintings were also Impressionist subjects, but he depicted them in a resolutely intellectual way. Seurat devised a disciplined and painstaking system of painting that focused on color analysis. He was less concerned with the recording immediate color sensations than with organizing colors carefully and systematically into a new kind of pictorial order. How that's worded. Seurat harnessed the free and fluent play of color that characterized Impressionism into a calculated arrangement based on scientific color theory. I love that. So, color theory is very interesting. And did we I think we got to Monet last time, right? Yeah, because Monet had, like, I think didn't his, like, eyesight start to go after a while? And he was creating these giant paintings and stuff. And I think I was just mesmerized by a lot of his colors and how he captured these crazy colors and stuff, but it just did have a realistic effect if you kind of looked at it, because like the sun setting hitting the water, like a metal rod wasn't just the color of the metal rod, it like created these hues of blues and purples and things that just were wild colors, which that is what a sunset does, and it reflects all those weird colors, especially in the water, and it just like becomes really magical. So that's what he was doing with the color theory. So it's interesting. A system known as pointillism or divisionism, pointillism, cool, involves carefully observing color and separating it into its component parts. Very cool. That's kind of like in Adobe Photoshop when you do the what is it called? When it divides into the different colors. It's like the old TV. It's like the tube television. Yeah, so the artist then applies these pure component colors to the canvas in tiny dots, points, or dabs. Thus, the shapes, figures, and spaces in the image become totally comprehensible only from a distance. Then the viewer's eye blends the many pigment when the viewer's eye blends the many pigmented dots. Here we go with the 19th century color theory. And this is the pointillism. Yeah, very famous painting of the pointillism. Kind of a shitty image quality that I have. I should really have downloaded a higher resolution file so we can really zoom in on it. Sorry. Hi. Hi guys. Hi. Just checking in on you. Hey Snowball. Hi Apex Comics. Nice to see you. Alright. Great. So we have 19th century color theory. In the 19th century, advances in the sciences contributed to changing theories about color and how people perceive it. Many physicists and chemists studied optical reception, and the behavior of the human eye in response to light differing wavelengths. They also investigated the psychological dimension of color. Their discoveries provided a framework within which artists such as Seurat, the inventor of pointillism, worked. Discussions of color often focus on hue, for example, red, yellow, and blue, but it is important to consider. I have a sneeze coming, so if I just suddenly, now that I announced it, it has to go away, so. Discussions of color often focus on hue, for example, red, yellow, and blue. And if Photoshop and color theory, you know that word. But it is important to consider the other facets of color: saturation, the hue's brightness or dullness, the value, the hue's lightness or darkness. Most artists during the 19th century understood the concepts of primary, secondary, and complementary colors. These are all so exciting. Oh God, my neck. Neck is killing me. Why? I don't think I'm lurching that hard. Yeah, so these are concepts of color theory. Jay, I know you studied some of that recently. He made a beautiful color wheel, and you can see the colors on the color wheel, the colors that you use, and then the shades of them, the hues, or what is it called? Not the hues. Yeah, saturation and hues. And then the opposite of the color wheel is the complementary colors. Chemist Michel Eugene Chevreul, 1786 to 1889, extended artists' understanding of color dynamics by formulating the law of simultaneous contrast of color. Okay, so it's formulating the law of simultaneous contrast of color. Chevreul, I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Chevreul. Chevreul asserted that juxtaposed colors affect the eye's reception of each, making the two colors as dissimilar as possible, both in hue and value. I mean, this is really interesting stuff. For example, placing the light green next to dark green has the effect of making the light green look even lighter and the dark green darker. Chevreul further provided an explanation of successive contrast, the phenomenon of colored after images. Oh my god, yeah. When a person looks intensely at a color, green for example, and then shifts to a white area, the eye momentarily perceives the complementary color, red. So that's also a really fascinating thing to do. If you just like stare at your computer at the color yellow on your screen for like a few seconds, and then you turn to like your white wall or something, you'll see purple. Like the same square of purple or a circle of purple. It's really fun. Charles Blanc, 1813 to 1882, who coined the term optical mixture to describe the visual effects of juxtaposed complementary colors, asserted that the smaller the areas of adjoining complementary colors, the greater the tendency for the eye to mix the colors, so that the viewer perceives a grayish or neutral tint. Seurat used this principle frequently in his paintings. So again, the specific color they use is for the pointillism dot, but then like those colors mixed together from afar, like what you're looking at, creates the overall shading, colors, and the dynamics of it. So it's really interesting. Also influential for Seurat was the work of physicist Odin Rude, 1831 to 1902, who constructed an accurate and understandable diagram of contrasting colors. Further, and particularly significant to Seurat, Rude, R-O-O-D, Rude, suggested that artists could achieve color gradation by placing small dots of lines or lines of color side by side that would blend in the eye. The color experiments of Seurat and other late 19th century artists were also part of a larger discourse about human vision and how people see and understand the world. The theories of physicist Ernst Mach, M-A-C-H, Ernst Mach, 1838 to 1916, focused on the psychological experience of sensation. He believed humans perceive their environments in isolated units of sensation that the brain then... Sorry, I just like started thinking as I'm reading this. Like sometimes I like start going on in my head and I'm just technically reading out loud. But let me just stop for a second because it just got me kind of excited to explore this a little bit. If we're dealing with color theory and this kind of like I love, because of alchemy and stuff like that, the avant-garde and all that, the idea of playing with sciences with art. So I love how they're talking about physicists and chemists and science, but we're sitting here talking about art, you know? And it was like, that is so cool how one can use this science to create like this new kind of artwork or whatever. And it just got me thinking about my photography and kind of concepts of how to push things to another level. And it's always really fun to kind of look back to then kind of repurpose like an idea of stuff. So it's like, how can I use this color theory and like the tricks of the eye, and how can I apply that to my current work? You know, that's what I just started thinking about in my head. I was like, ooh, how can how can I apply this science and the use of this like science in my photography, or and you know I do a lot of like with Photoshop, that's why it looks like paintings and things like that. um so I was like, ooh, is there something that I can do that can play a trick on the eye that creates more depth to my work? It's not just like, here's a picture. Kind of hate that. I hate just like pretty picture stuff. Mm-mm-mm. Checking in on you guys. Wim asked, is this Cassatt or Seurat? Seurat. It's Seurat. We did Cassatt last time for Impressionism. But this is, yeah, Seurat. Do you say Seurat? Seurat? It's spelled A-T, so I'm saying Seurat. Okay, now that I've explained my little idea to you that I was thinking about, I can get back into this. So, Ernst Mach, 1838 to 1916, focused on the psychological experience of sensation. That's the thing, a psychological experience to the artwork. Like, that's so exciting to me. I want to figure out how to harness that for my work. He believed humans perceive their environments in isolated units of sensation that the brain then recomposes into a comprehensible world. Another scientist, Charles Henry, 1859 to 1926, also pursued research into the psychological dimension of color, how colors affect people. Affect, not effect. A-F-F-E-C-T. How colors affect people and under what conditions. He went even further to explore the psychological effects of perception. Very exciting. Cool. Very cool. So in this picture that you guys are looking at, it's Seurat, Sunday on the Grand Jeté? Is that it? Jeté, J-A-T-T-E. In dance and ballet, that's a grand jeté is a large jump. It says Sunday on Le Grand Jeté. 1884 to 1886, oil on canvas. It is 6 feet 9 inches by 10 feet. Holy shit, that's big. That must be really cool to walk up really close to it that big, because then you see the little details of the dots, but then you step away and you see what you have in front of you. It's really cool. Hey, Douglas Nelson, nice to see you. Thinking that your donation is going to pop up on my screen any second, but let me read you your $5 donation. Thank you so much. Color is the only theoretical exception in the land of Oz where it clearly exists. Merry Christmas. Christmas. Let me just think about what you just said there. Color is only theoretical. Except in the land of Oz, where it clearly that's what you said. Okay, color is only theoretical, except in the land of Oz, where it clearly exists. Very interesting. Hey, Agatha, nice to see you. Awesome, and we got Bianca Zombie. Awesome, love having the ladies in here. Love it, love it. Agatha, I should have you on sometime. Do a little chit chat about any projects you're working on. That'd be really fun. Maybe we should do a little something like that now that I'm getting going, streaming again. So Seurat's color system, pointillism, involved dividing colors into their component parts and applying those colors to the canvas in tiny dots. The forms become comprehensible only from a distance. Pointillism was on view at the 8th and last Impressionist exhibit exhibition in 1886 when Seurat showed his A Sunday on Le Grand Jeté. The subject of the painting is consistent with Impressionist recreational themes. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're always like out and about in the park, in the club, out eating and drinking. The subject of the painting is consistent with Impressionistic themes, but Seurat's rendition is strangely rigid and remote, unlike the spontaneous representations of most Impressionists. By using meticulously calculated values, Seurat carved out a deep rectangular space. He played on repeated motifs both to create flat patterns and to suggest spatial depth. Reiterating the profile of the female form, the parasol, and the cylindrical forms of the figures, Seurat placed each in a... Oh my god, I'm sorry. Let me go back. Reiterating the profile of the female form and the parasol and the cylindrical forms of the figures. Changing pages, so in the middle of a sentence. Seurat placed each in space to set up a rhythmic movement in depth as well as from side to side. Sunshine fills the picture, but the painter did not break the light into transient patches of color. Light, air, people, and landscape are fixed in the abstract design in which line, color, value, and shape cohere in a precise and tightly controlled organization. Okay. Cool. So now we have Vincent van Gogh. Jack says Van Gogh differently. Van Gogh? Van Gogh. I just feel retarded. Can I say retarded on YouTube? I don't know, but I feel silly saying Van Gogh. Van Gogh. Oh, I don't know how to say it. Van Gogh. In marked contrast to Seurat, Vincent van Gogh, 1853 to 1890, explored the capabilities of colors and distorted forms to express his emotions. The son of a Dutch Protestant pastor, Van Gogh believed he had a religious calling and did missionary work in the coal mining area of Belgium. Did not know that. Repeated professional and personal failures brought him close to despair. I feel you. I feel you, man. Only after he turned to painting did he find a way to communicate his experiences. When Van Gogh died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound at age 37, that's how old I am right now. I feel you, Van Gogh. I can't believe I'm as old as Van Gogh was. Trips you out getting old, man. Trips you out. Just realize how young everybody was. Everyone's always so young. Like I said, I attempted to start a podcast, but only recorded a few episodes, and life got in the way, but I love to arrange something. Yeah, that'd be cool. It's just good to, like, mix and match, like, people, like, viewerships. So, like, I would like my viewers to experience and know who you are, and then they'll go, oh shit, like, there's other cool, fabulous women to know. And so it's like let's just get people knowing each other, and that's what it's all about. I don't really collaborate with too many other people. I would like to, but I'm not in the cool kids club, so no one else really has me on their thing. But I try to do my part. Alright. let's see. Yeah, it just got like really triggered seeing that he was like, um, you know, in despair because of repeated professional personal failures, and I really feel that. And then he died by a self-inflicted gunshot wound at my age of 37. He considered himself a failure as an artist. Really a man. He sold only one painting during his lifetime. Since his death, however, his reputation and the appreciation of his art have grown dramatically. Subsequent painters, especially the Fauves and German Expressionists, built on the use of color and the expressiveness of Van Gogh's art. It is no exaggeration to state that today Van Gogh is one of the most revered artists in history. After relocating to Arles, how do you say that? Arles in southern France. Goddamn French in their names. In 1888, Van Gogh painted Night Cafe, figure 319. Let me get that to you. 319. Oop, that's not the painting. It's the last one. There we go. Sorry, let me catch up what's happening. Although the subject is apparently benign, Van Gogh invested it with a charged energy. As he stated in a letter to his brother Theo, he wanted the painting to convey an oppressive atmosphere, a place where one can ruin oneself, go mad, or commit a crime. Okay? The proprietor rises like a scepter from the edge of the billiard table, which the painter depicted in such a steeply titled perspective that it threatens to slide out of the painting into the viewer's space. Van Gogh communicated the madness of the place by selecting vivid hues whose juxtaposition augmented their intensity. His insistence on the expressive values of color led him to develop a corresponding expressiveness in his paint application. The thickness, shape, and direction of his brushstrokes created a tactile counterpart to his intense color schemes. He often moved the brush vehemently back and forth or at right angles, giving a textile effect, even squeezing dots or streaks directly onto his canvas from his paint tube. This bold, almost slapdash attack enhanced the intensity of his colors. Yeah, that's something he's known for, is like really glopping on the paint. I think, I think he came from money. So like his like family money was able, like he was able to purchase. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. I'm just going off 1-year-old memory here. But I think it's because of his family money he was able to buy all this like paint, and that people felt was very wasteful for him to slap up on there. But it is definitely, he's known for that really thick texture on the canvas, which is really cool to create another element of depth for sure. So then there's the letters of Vincent van Gogh. Hey Joey Jojo, nice to see you. Yeah, it is. Hi Eduardo, nice to see you. It is interesting to read these letters. So yeah, this is cool. Let me just zoom in a little bit on this picture that you guys have in front of you. Show it off a little bit more. Let's look in detail. Again, this is really bad image quality. I just screenshotted it from the book, but I should really save the images so you can see the texture and the quality of the image next time. You can see where the slopped on the paint. Look at this guy. Look at him. Okay. So, the letters of Vincent van Gogh. Throughout his life, Vincent van Gogh wrote letters to his brother Theo van Gogh, 1857 to 1891, a Parisian art dealer, on matters both mundane and philosophical. The letters are precious documents of the vicissitudes. Destitutes. Is that the word? Let me look this up. Sorry, it's not often I really don't know how to say a word, but this is why reading is good for you. You'll enhance your vocabulary. Let me look this up. vicissitude. 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 A change of circumstances or fortune, typically one that is unwelcome or unpleasant. That sounds like Van Gogh. So the letters are precious documents of the vicissitudes of the painter's life and reveal his emotional anguish. In many of the letters, Van Gogh also forcefully stated his views about art. In one letter, he told Theo, quote, "In both my life and in my painting, I can very well do without God, but I cannot, ill as I am, do without something which is greater than I, the power to create." Sorry, it's just like, I'm not trying to compare myself to Van Gogh, but I feel him about that. Because, you know, getting canceled and all that, and just like my career being ripped from me as an artist, it's just like, that's the kind of despair and like loss of spirit that happened. Is that like, that was my everything. Like, it's not like I lost a job in an office. Like, that was my ability to create something, and it was creating something bigger than me. It was like alchemy stuff, and my expression and my art. And to have that ripped away from you. Most people, like, they can have a job or whatever ripped away, or like something, but then they can just like turn to art to express themselves, and it just sucks because I feel like I lost my ability to do art, which is fucked up. So I feel you, Van Gogh. I'm feeling it really intensely. So let me get back into it. Sorry. Quote, "In both my life and in my painting, I can very well do without God, but I cannot, ill as I am, do without something which is greater than I, power to create." For Van Gogh, the power to create involved the expressive use of color. Instead of trying to reproduce exactly what I have before my eyes, I use color more arbitrarily so as to express myself forcibly. End quote. Color in painting, he argued, is quote, "not locally true from the point of view of the delusive realist, but color suggesting some emotion of an ardent temperament." Some of Van Gogh's letters contain vivid descriptions of his paintings, for example, about Starry Night. He wrote, "I have tried to express the terrible passions of humanity by means..." I have Starry Night for you. Let's get, as I read his quotes, it's good to kind of have it in front of me. "I have tried to express the terrible passions of humanity by means of red and green. The room is blood red." Oh my god, wait, what is happening? We're back to Night Cafe. Did I just read Starry Night in my head? back to Night Cafe. Because the green and red is going on in here. So I've tried to express the terrible passions of humanity by means of red and green. The room is blood red and dark yellow with the green billiard table in the middle. There are 4 citron yellow lamps with a glow of orange and green. Everywhere there is a clash of contrast of the most desperate reds and greens in the figures of little sleeping hooligans in the empty, dreary room in violet and blue. For instance, contrast with the soft, tender Louis the 15th green of the counter, on which there is a pink nosegay. Nosegay? The fuck is a nosegay? Sorry. My network kind of got me. Let me look this up. Nosegay? Nosegay. A small bunch of flowers, typically one that is sweet-scented. Okay, makes sense. Nosegay is happy, so, like, makes your nose happy. It's like a sweet-scented bunch of flowers. Cool! Learn new words all the time. Wild. So, the white coat of the landlord, awake in a corner of that furnace, turns citron yellow or pale luminous green. So I guess this is the, like, the landlord, and he's just talking about the color of the citron, the yellow and greens going on. But the people he was saying are like blues and purples, which contrast. He's just saying contrast, contrast, contrast. Yep, see the blues. Ooh. Where's the nosegay? Ah, there it is. There's the pink nosegay. So this is Vincent van Gogh, Night Cafe, 1888, oil on canvas, 2 feet and 4.5 inches by 3 feet, and it's at the Yale University Art Gallery in New Haven. In Night Cafe, Van Gogh explored the capabilities of colors and distorted forms to express emotions. The thickness, shape, and direction of his brushstrokes create a tactile counterpart to the intense colors. Cool. Nosegay. I can't stop saying it now. Oh, BMT Lines donated $20. Thank you so much. She said, always enjoy your art streams. There it is. Thanks, BMT Lines. Nice to see you in here. I've mentioned it before, but he's a photographer that I shot with when I did pinup modeling at the New York Pinup Club. Oh, piano is. Nosegay. Okay, so now we have gone to Starry Night. There we go. Bring it back to art. There we go. Similarly illustrative of Van Gogh's expressionist method is Starry Night, which the artist painted in 1889, the year before his death. At this time, Van Gogh was living in an asylum in Saint-Remy, where he had committed himself. In Starry Night, the artist did not represent the sky's appearance. Rather, he communicated his feelings about the electrifying vastness of the universe, filled with whirling and exploding stars and galaxies of stars, the earth and humanity huddled beneath it. Given Van Gogh's determination to use color to express himself forcibly, the dark, deep blues that pervades the entire painting cannot be overlooked. Together with the turbulent brushstrokes, the colors suggest a quiet but pervasive depression. Van Gogh expressed his feelings about death and the stars in a letter to his brother. Quote, "Looking at the stars always makes me dream. Why, I ask myself, shouldn't the shining dots of the sky be as accessible as the black dots on the map of France? Just as we take the train to get to Tarascon or Rouen, we take death to reach a star." So, Starry Night, Vincent van Gogh, 1889, oil on canvas, 2 feet 5 inches by 3 feet and a quarter inch, Museum of Modern Art in New York. Oh, we can go see this at the MoMA. In this late work, Van Gogh painted the vast night sky filled with whirling and exploding stars, the earth huddled beneath it. The painting is almost abstract pattern of expressive line, shape, and color. Okay. Hi, Stephen is who. Nice to see you in here. And thank you, Andrew, Sabina. Thank you so much for the $5. Looking forward to your book, Martina. Thank you. If you're getting the comic book, you should be getting it soon. If you're talking about the photo book that I'm going to be doing, then yeah, I'm working on that as well. Working on making more art pieces for that as well. Formatting. Then we have Paul Gauguin. Gauguin? Gauguin. I say Gauguin. Like Van Gogh, the French painter Paul Gauguin, 1848 to 1903, rejected objective representation in favor of subjective expressionism. He also broke with the impressionist studies of minutely contrasted hues because he believed color, above all, must be expressive, and the artist's power to determine the colors in a painting was a central element of creativity. However, whereas Van Gogh's heavy, thick brushstrokes were an important component of his expressive style, Gauguin's color areas appear flatter, often visually dissolving into abstract patches or patterns. In 1883, Gauguin gave up his prosperous career in the brokerage business to devote his time entirely to painting. This is what I'm talking about before, where it was like people have jobs and like other things, and then they want to express themselves with art, and it's like, yeah, I got stopped from being able to do that. It sucks. 3 years later, and I mean, like, yes, I'm still doing it now, but it gets nowhere. Like, I used to be seen and heard, and I mean, I'm not performing, but now I'm doing photography and all that, so I make art in a different way. But I'm a dancer, man. I'm meant to perform, and it's like I can't express myself that way anymore. It's done. Anyway, sorry, I just get like depressed about it. So he gave up his career in brokerage to devote his time entirely to painting. 3 years later, attracted by Brittany's unspoiled culture, Gauguin moved to Paris from Paris to Pont-Aven. The French say things very strangely, so it's Pont-Aven. I don't know. Pont-Aven. Although in the 1870s and 1880s, Brittany had been transformed into a profitable market economy, Gauguin still viewed the Bretons as natural men. There's a dude wrestling with an angel. It's hilarious. Got him in a headlock. It looks like the Amish are watching an angel wrestle, put a guy in a headlock. That's what it looks like. A work that decisively rejects both realism and impressionism. The painting shows Breton women wearing their starched white Sunday caps and black dresses, visualizing the sermon they have just heard at church on Jacob's encounter with the Holy Spirit. Genesis 32:24-30. The women pray devoutly before the apparition. Gauguin departed from optical realism and composed the picture elements to focus the viewer's attention on the idea and intensify its message. The images are not what the Impressionist eye would have seen and replicated, but what memory would have recalled and imagination would have modified. Thus the artist twisted and the perspective and allotted the space to emphasize the innocent faith of the unquestioning women, and he shrank Jacob and the angel wrestling in a ring enclosed by a Breton stone fence to the size of fighting cocks. Okay, so it's more of like the imagination, not so much realism, and then it's like the fighting angel and Jacob. It's this like apparition that is like encircled by these praying women, and they're like reduced to the size of fighting cocks. That's the name of a pub we live by. Hey, Mr. Pope Noir, nice to see you. Wrestling matches were regular features at the entertainment held after high mass. Wrestling matches were regular features at the entertainment held after high mass. So Gauguin's women are spectators at a contest that was, for them, a familiar part of their culture. Gauguin did not unify the picture with a horizontal perspective, light and shade, or a naturalistic use of color. Instead, he abstracted the scene into a pattern. Pure, unmodulated color fills flat plains and shapes bounded by firm lines, white caps, black dresses, and the red field of combat. The shapes are angular, even harsh. The caps and the sharp fingers and profiles and the hard contours suggest the austerity of peasant life and settled in Tahiti? No, sorry. Went to the wrong place. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Tahiti? The cap's sharp fingers and profiles and the hard contours suggest the austerity of peasant life and ritual. That makes sense. Like many of his contemporaries, Gauguin admired Japanese prints as well as medieval stained glass and cloisonné metalwork. These art forms contributed to his own daring experiment to transform traditional painting and Impressionism into abstract, expressive patterns of line, shape, and clear color. Okay, next thing. Oops. Where do we come from? Love that question. After a brief period of association with Van Gogh in Arles in 1888, Gauguin settled in Tahiti. Gauguin believed the South Pacific island would offer him a life far removed from materialistic Europe and an opportunity to reconnect with nature. Upon his arrival, he was disappointed to find that Tahiti, under French control since 1842, had been extensively colonized. Gauguin tried to maintain his vision of an untamed paradise by moving to the Tahitian countryside, where he expressed his fascination with primitive life and brilliant color in a series of striking decorative canvases. Gauguin often based the design, although indirectly, on native motifs, and the color owed his particular harmonies of lilac, pink, and lemon to the tropical flora of the islands. In 1897, worn down by failing health and the hostile reception of his work, Gauguin tried unsuccessfully to take his own life, but not before painting Where Do We Come From? What Are We? Where Are We Going? Where do we come from? Where do we go? Where are we going? Lovely. A little motif. I love the colors actually. They're quite complementary. Orange and blue are complementary colors, so yellow and some orange in there kind of go. Red and green, purple and yellow. This monumental work can be read as a summary of Gauguin's art and his views on life. The scene is a tropical landscape populated with native women and children. He described it in a letter to a friend. And the letter goes, "Where are we going? Near to death, an old woman. What are we? Day-to-day existence. Where do we come from? Source, child, life begins. Behind a tree, two sinister figures, cloaked in garments of somber colors, introduce, near the tree of knowledge, the tree of knowledge, their note of anguish caused by that very knowledge, in contrast to some simple beings in a virgin nature, which might be paradise as conceived by humanity, who give themselves to the happiness of living." Where do we come from is therefore a sobering, pessimistic image of the life cycle's inevitability. Gauguin died a few years later in the Marquesas Island, his artistic genius still unrecognized. I think sad. Sad. Oops, shit. Paul Gauguin, Where Do We Come From? What Are We? Where Are We Going? 1897. Oil on canvas, 4 feet 6 6 and 13/16 inches by 12 feet 3 inches. And it's at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. In search of a place far removed from European materialism, Gauguin moved to Tahiti, where he used native women and tropical colors to present a pessimistic view of the inevitability of the life cycle. Oh wow. So yes, let's get to some of these. Oh,
on Sunday. If I only have time for one museum, which art museum should I check out?
oh wow. That's awesome. I hope you have fun, Snowball. My favorite museum is the Met. I mean, hands down, my favorite is the Met. You can get exhausted and not finish everything in the Met. They have ancient stuff. I mean, first of all, the building itself is really gorgeous. I don't know if this is still true, but the admission is just a suggestion that is what they do for tourists to say, oh, admissions is $20 or something, but really it's just a donation. You can give them $1 if you want and be like, that's my donation, and they'll give you a ticket in. And you can see ancient stuff, you can see Byzantine jewelry, you can see ancient Egyptian things, you can see ancient Roman, Greek sculptures and things like that. Then you can see more of the Renaissance paintings, you could see modern art in there still, like the Van Gogh is at the Met, Starry Night is at the Met. You could see everything. They have rooms that have rooms in them. There's like furniture, decor. There's a fashion area, so you can go and see an exhibit of like Dior through the ages or something. Whatever they have going on at the time in the fashion one. I mean, you will get tired of looking at art and you haven't seen everything in there yet. It's incredible. It's my favorite. I would suggest that if you're coming. There are others. There's the MoMA, but that's the Museum of Modern Art. So if you're into like more of that, the Guggenheim is interesting because it has the whole spiral thing. But to be honest, you're gonna see a lot of SJW art in there. It's gonna be a lot of like some propaganda, which, you know, if you're like me, live in New York, it's fun to just see what they have because, you know, you get to explore and kind of check out the art scene. But if you're just going there for a short period, the Met is my. Oh, BMT Lines, thank you for that information. He says admission rules were changed. It is a suggestion for New York residents only. Oh. Okay. Snowball, there's also, if you've been to the Met and all that, I know you said you went to the MoMA already, that's cool. There's the Frick. The Frick is like, there's the Whitney. Yeah, I like the MoMA store. I like to get some of that stuff from the MoMA store. It's really cool. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Let me continue with some Cézanne. Oh, wait. No, I didn't finish reading. Sorry. Then we have, I think, Ninja. Thank you so much. The Jinja Ninja? Is that what that says? Thank you so much. He says, good luck with your art stream. What is that in Chinese? Is that 500, what is it, yen or something? Good luck with your stream. Would love to talk to you about art sometime. Your work is inspirational and mesmerizing. Keep it up. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I see you on Twitter. We interact. So, sure. Anytime, darling. Anytime. Let's do it. I really appreciate the nice comments. Andy, if you're talking about the admissions rules change for the Met, I think it's just a way of like them making money, but like, okay, like we're not gonna, you know, the New York residents, we gotta like, it's like having like a student discount. It's like, you're a local, we'll let you have a suggested donation, but we gotta make money somehow, and the tourists will pay. So I guess that's the way it is. But to be fair, if you're going to pay, because I mean, as a New Yorker, I still have to pay for the Guggenheim or all those other ones. So if you are going to pay a ticket, the Met would be the best bang for your buck, because you can be there all day until they close, and you have seen so many things with a wide variety of whatever it is that you want to look at. So, I mean, that's the best bang for your buck, because you'll pay to get into the Guggenheim, and then you'll see a bunch of like SJW art, and then walk out and be like, it's paid like whatever for that, whatever. I mean, I enjoy it just because like something to see and see what's going on in the scene, but like, and I can go to them at whenever I want, but I would suggest that one. Okay. Paul Cézanne. Like Seurat, the French artist Paul Cézanne, 1839 to 1906, turned from Impressionism to develop a more analytical style. Although at first he accepted the Impressionist color theories and their faith in subjects chosen from everyday life, his own studies of Renaissance and Baroque paintings in the Louvre persuaded him that Impressionism lacked form and structure. Cézanne declared he wanted to make of Impressionism something solid and durable, like the art of the museums. The basis of Cézanne's art was his unique way of studying nature, as seen in works such as Mont Sainte-Victoire. Let me bring you that one, which I love. And again, this is what like, the right will talk shit, but like, it's cool. You can tell it's a mountain. It looks cool. I love the little choppiness of the brush strokes. I love it. Ooh, shit. I love it. One of many views Cézanne painted of his mountain near his home in, let me say some French shit. It's Aix-en-Provence. So, Aix-en-Provence. Cézanne's aim was not truth in appearance, especially not photographic truth, nor was it the truth of Impressionism. Rather, he sought a lasting structure behind the formless and fleeting visual information the eye absorbs. Instead of employing the Impressionist random approach when he was face-to-face with nature, Cézanne attempted to order his lines, planes, and colors that comprised nature. I mean, I think it goes back to the Impressionistic style. He constantly and painstakingly checked his paintings against the part of the real scene. He called it the motif he was studying at the moment. When Cézanne wrote that his goal was to do Poussin over entirely from nature, in the open air with color and light instead of in a studio. He meant that he sought to achieve Poussin's effect of distance, depth, structure, and solidity, not by using traditional perspective and chiaroscuro, but by recording the color patterns and optical analysis of nature provides. With special care, Cézanne explored the properties of line, plane, and color and their interrelationships. He studied the effect of every kind of linear direction, the capacity of planes to create the sensation of depth, the intrinsic qualities of color, and the power of colors to modify the direction and depth of lines and planes. To create the illusion of three Three-dimensional form and space, Cézanne focused on carefully selecting colors. He understood that the visual properties, hue, saturation, and value, of different colors vary, see color theory, which is what we went over earlier. Cool colors tend to recede, warm colors advance, cool. By applying to the canvas small patches of juxtaposed colors, some advancing and some receding, Cézanne created a volume and spatial depth to his works. I see it. I see it. So wait, what is it? So cool colors recede and the warm ones advance. See that? So the cool, the blues and stuff, the yellows are kind of popping out in the foreground a little bit more. Cool. I like that. On occasion, the artist depicted objects chiefly in one hue and achieved convincing solidity by modulating the intensity or saturation. At other times, he juxtaposed contrasting colors of like saturation to compose specific objects such as fruit or bowls. In Mont Sainte-Victoire, he replaced the transitory visual effects of changing atmospheric conditions, effects that occupied Monet, with a more concentrated, lengthier analysis of the colors in large lighted spaces. The main space stretches out behind and beyond the canvas plane and includes numerous small elements such as roads, fields, houses, and the viaduct at the far right. Ooh, let me see the viaduct. Okay. I think it's pretty. I would love it. I would hang it up. Each seen from a slightly different viewpoint. Above this shifting, receding perspective rises the large mass of all, the mountain, the largest mass of all, the mountain, with an effect achieved by equally stressing background and foreground contours of being simultaneously near and far away. It's true. This portrayal approximates the real experience a person has when viewing a landscape's forms piecemeal. The relative proportions of objects vary rather than being fixed by a strict one or two-point perspective such as that normally found in a photograph. Cézanne immobilized the shifting colors of Impressionism into an array of clearly defined planes that compose the objects and spaces in his scene. So this is Cézanne, Mont Sainte-Victoire, 1902 to 1904, oil on canvas, 2 feet 3.5 inches by 2 feet 11.25 inch. And it's in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. In his landscape, Cézanne replaced the transitory visual effects of shifting atmospheric conditions, a focus for the Impressionists, with careful analysis of the lines, planes, and colors of nature. I like it. I think it's really pretty. Which leads me to his next painting, Basket of Apples, which I think is quite lovely of a painting, which is why I used it for my thumbnail. And I love a still life. I take pictures of still life sometimes, actually, because with my photography I try to do it like the old master portraits, and sometimes they have a still life. It's not just a human, so it's kind of fun to study the photography with a still life. And apples are very New York. I love it. We produce apples. Empire apple. Sorry. Still life painting was another good vehicle for Cézanne's experiments, as he could arrange a limited number of selected objects to provide a well-ordered point of departure. So analytical was Cézanne in preparing, observing, and painting still lives, in contrast to the Impressionist emphasis on the ideal of spontaneous, that he had to abandon using real fruit and flowers because they tended to rot. In Basket of Apples, the objects have lost something of their individual character as bottles and fruit, and almost become cylinders and spheres. Cézanne captured the solidity of each object by juxtaposing color patches. His interest in the study of volume and solidity is evident from the disjunctures of the paintings. Okay, so his interest in the study of volume and solidity is evident from the disjunctures in the paintings. The table edges are discontinuous, and various objects seem to be depicted from different vantage points. Let's see. Oh yeah, I do see the different vantage points. See, like, well, there's some shading going on. But I feel like it looks very, like, getting cubist almost. Lovely. I like it. Again with the outlines. It's very impressionist outlines. In his zeal to understand three-dimensionality and to convey the placement of forms relative to the space around them, Cézanne explored his still life arrangements from different viewpoints. This resulted in paintings that, although conceptually coherent, do not appear optically realistic. In keeping with the modernist concern with the integrity of the painting surface, Cézanne's methods never permit the viewer to disregard the dimensionality of the picture plane. In this manner, Cézanne achieved a remarkable feat, presenting the viewer with two-dimensional and three-dimensional images simultaneously. Very cubist. Very cubist. I think we're getting there. So this is Paul Cézanne's Basket of Apples, circa 1895, oil on canvas, 2 feet 3/8 inches by 2 feet 7 inches, and it's at the Art Institute of Chicago. Cézanne's still lifes. It's interesting that they do still lifes. Still lives? Still lifes. They do LIFES. Still lifes reveal his analytical approach to painting. He captured the solidity of bottles and fruit by juxtaposing color patches, but the resulting abstract shapes are not optically realistic. Cool. Hey, Tall Kevin 87, $2. Thank you so much. Ever been to National Gallery in London? It's free. God, that sounds really familiar. I did live near London for a period of time. God, I didn't get to go to too many things, unfortunately, because I was working for a media company that just had me making and editing videos all day, nonstop. It was really, it was like slave work, so didn't get to do too much, which sucks. Same thing when I went to Paris and reported on the riots and things. It was like in the Notre Dame. I'm like in an Uber passing by like Salon de Refuse and, you know, of course Louvre and all that, and I'm just like, no, like I haven't slept at all and I'm reporting on these things and I'm passing by these museums and I don't get to go. I feel like if you were traveling for work, that is at least the luxury you're allowed to have, is to like go do something, and I never had time to do anything. So I'm not sure, but when I go to London next, I will check that out. Husband knows it's free. I've been to the Tate in Liverpool. That was cool. I've got some stuff actually from the Tate in Liverpool. Here it is right now. Good night, BMT Lines. Nice to see you. Thank you, thank you. Hi, kitty. I know. Is all that noise waking you up? Come here. Kitty. So I was getting into a story in the beginning of the stream. Hi, kitty. Come here. What are you meowing at? Come here. I was getting into a story in the beginning of the stream when I started. And I said, okay, when I tell you this, don't start coming at me about leave the city, blah, blah, blah. And I got into the whole story about the city and why we owe it to ourselves to live in the city a little bit. But I never actually ended up telling you what I wanted to tell you, which was the lead up to that. And I'm getting into this story because we're actually done with this right now. With the art history part. So let me just double check. We're done with this part. Yeah, so are we done with this? Yeah, I think. Jesus. I can hear pumping and running. Kitty. Can you hear that? You hear that? And it's very distracting to me. Yeah, so I think we're done with that. The next one is symbolism. Got Edvard Munch. Yeah. Klimt, sculpture. Next time, and architecture. Yeah. And then we wrapped up the chapter. So that's for next time. We're done for now with the post-impressionists. And I'm just going to finish by telling you the story that I intended to tell you earlier. And I just have so many complaints, man. Like, are people, like, is there common decency anymore? Is there common courtesy anymore? And yeah, I hear someone's fucking running. And it's a child running. Kitty, come here. Stop meowing. Either come or don't. Let's go. So it's like, where do I begin? Where do I begin? You know, it starts out with everywhere we live, there's a running fucking child somewhere. And I don't understand it because, like, the parents will... Oh, yeah, the basement lady, Jay. I don't understand because the parents, like, make excuses for it. No, again, see someone saying you're in New York, LOL. It's not just that, because... Exactly, I'm in New York. I should not know who the fuck my neighbors are. That's the typical New York experience. Never in my life have I heard neighbors before. I've never known who my neighbors were. And the first time, again, everyone's blaming New York. The thing about New York is we don't know who our neighbors are. That's the typical New York City experience. In fact, one time, I was living in the same neighborhood that I'm in now. I was at a crepe shop in the building, it was not a restaurant, it's a crepe shop below my apartment. And I was at the crepe shop. It was 2020. The election happened, and I was outside, and I could hear inside, because it was COVID, so you kind of had to wait outside when you made the order. And I could hear inside, there was like a ghetto guy bitching to the crepe shop people about how the election was stolen. And I was like, okay, what's going on in there? And I heard him, and he was like a ghetto New York guy, and I was like, and he like wasn't white, and so, I don't know what he was, but it's not like, I don't think he was black, but he was like, I don't know. And I ended up talking to him, being like, so yeah. And we ended up chit chatting, and it's nice to know other people in New York. It's nice to, and this is the great thing about New York City is that you can create a life like anywhere you want, like in any industry. So like I had a life in burlesque that like crumbled, and like the LGBT world that crumbled, but I can just go into another world and just kind of build that up and make friends and network and do stuff, which is again why I feel like we owe ourselves to go live in New York and kind of mingle and go to parties, and I have holiday parties to attend. I've got other conservative events to happen, which I never did before. I was in a world of liberals. And so I like now want to rebuild my life a bit in this new world. So I hear this guy and I'm just like, oh shit, I should like, get to, meet who that person is in my neighborhood who's talking about the election being stolen, blah, blah, blah. So I go and I meet him and we exchange, information, and he's on my social media. We like chit chatted. He was like, hey, do you want these edibles? They're not making me feel good. And one time I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. I'll take it. And, we would chit chat here and there just to know like other people in New York. We found out after like a month or something that we live in the same building. He's literally my neighbor. And we had no idea. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. He's at the crepe shop downstairs. So I was like, and then I had a roommate that was terrible because she would stomp around. I called her Godzilla. Stomp and stomp, stomp, stomp. And she was a very skinny, like I barely weighed 100 pounds. Belly dancer and everything. So she's supposed to be a dancer. And she's very tiny and would stomp, dig her heels, and she walked around. She would play video games with the sound system that was like facing my bedroom wall, and it was just all night until 8 a.m. Like, when that rumbles and all that stuff. And so I was like, holy fuck. And like I started to kind of have arguments with her about it. I was like, dude, a little respect. Like I'm sleeping in here and you're playing video games, rumbling all night, and you're stomping around. Like you're really, it's really annoying. So I kind of was curious, and I went to the guy that lives, I knocked on the door downstairs, lives directly below us. He was an old man, and I was like, hey, do you by any chance like hear any of the noise upstairs? And he was like, no. I'm like, oh well, fuck, there goes my argument that you're bothering the old man downstairs. You couldn't hear anything. It was like fucking solid. It was like what is it called? Like a bunker. It was incredible. So I've never personally dealt with it. I currently am in an apartment that's really a house, and it was built in the 1920s. And so it's not a building, it's a house that's separated into floors that are like different units. And it's from the 20s. There's wooden floors and hardwood floors. It's lovely. I love it, love it, love it. But it doesn't have very good insulation. I don't think the landlord really did the proper job when kind of making this different tenants going on here. I don't think it's up to code, because you can hear everything. That's fucking annoying. I can hear the old lady downstairs fucking sneezing, which is insane. I can hear upstairs the goddamn child running around nonstop and stomping. What is with people with stomping? I don't understand why people walk so heavy-footed. It's so like ungraceful and like inconsiderate, because I brought them flowers and like a cake. I was like, oh, like, just wanted to say this insulation is really bad. It's not your fault, but like, we can hear a lot of noise. If you can kind of be mindful of that, that would really help. Thank you so much. And I still, child running across the fucking apartment, chandeliers rattling. It's just like, are you fucking kidding me? And when I kind of address it again, it's like, listen, sick right now and I'm trying to take a nap midday, and I get woken up by this rattling ceiling. And it's just like denial. It's like people are just like, they protect their child no matter what, which is bizarre to me, because when I was a child, it was all about being respectful to elders. It was all about, if I was a burden on anyone, especially anyone else, I would be in trouble. And it's like, I just don't understand why people defend their child no matter what and go, are you sure? Because she's just sitting there. And I'm like, dude, I have, like, it was fucking running. Like, I didn't imagine this and wake myself up. Like, she does it all the time. Anyway, Mattia says, you'd hate the neighbors I have upstairs. They're always dragging their furniture around and being like, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, it sounds like fucking bowling balls. I don't understand what the fuck they do up there all the time. Patriotic Gestalt, $5. Thank you so much. You've been very generous tonight. I really appreciate it. It says, did you ever perform at Duane Park? I had dinner there a long time ago. Food was good. Show was interesting. Not my cup of tea, though. I have performed at Duane Park, yes. It's a lovely venue. They have very like old-fashioned vibe, sit-down table, cocktails, dinner. And there's a balcony, and that's usually where the performer comes out. And there's a pit band. There's like a big black fat lady like in a gown singing with like trombones and all sorts of stuff, and a full-on band, and she's singing, and as you're live performing and you come down the staircase, and then there's like a stage in the middle, and it's a really, really lovely venue, but it's very cliquey. You gotta like be in with the SJW it crowd, and it's like, sad. But anyway, so back to my story. I'm sorry, it's just straying along because I'm trying to just explain like how this is, but so my whole thing is respect for others. Yeah, that's the thing. And someone says, I grew up on a 30-acre farm, but I also have a lot of siblings, so I learned not to be obnoxiously loud out of respect for others. Thank you. I have 5 siblings myself. And I grew up, with acreage and a house of our own, but like, my God, like, all I do, and my other siblings do it too, maybe it's the like Croatian or whatever, I don't know, like old world vibes, but like, we're super conscious of other people and being respectful and like being quiet when it's late at night because we're aware you can hear each other. No one else seems to fucking care at all. And so I'm annoyed by like the children thing too, and it's just like, why are children running indoors? Why do they run in an apartment where people live below you and have complained, hey, we can hear a lot of stuff, so I'm running, can you kind of sort that out? And oh my God, Richard. Yeah, Dutchess County. Hey. That's right. And so there's that. And then I've got the fucking neighbors to that side that have a bunch of fucking... And all they do is fucking yell. Like, holy fuck. It's brick. We're separated by brick this way, and I can hear you. I don't understand why your children are loud nonstop at like 10 p.m. It's like, I can hear actual words. It's like, you just hit me. And like, it's screaming. Children should not be screaming unless they are hurt or a serious matter is going on. And children should not be running indoors. Take them to a fucking park, okay? And teach them to act like a normal human being when they're inside. Like, it makes no sense. So now I have another issue. So for Halloween, and I live in a lovely, lovely place. I fell in love with it because there's brick, there's hardwood floor, there's moldings on the walls, there's, chandelier. It's so stunning. There's arches. It's so nice. And that's what I wanted, that like New York kind of vibe. But then Halloween comes. And the fucking Slavic old lady that lives downstairs decided to fucking decorate the entire front lawn with 99-cent store tats. Cobwebs on the lovely pillars, the stoop that I have in the pillars. Cheap dollar store crap wrapped around my cast iron handrail. Fake flowers, which I cannot stand. People putting fake flowers into dirt or plant potters outside. Like, no, 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 no. So I was really upset. Oh, we have a nice, like, the bay window type thing. I'm on the first level. And then there's a tree outside of it. She's hanging fucking ghosts in the trees. So now out my window, I see, like, it looks like trash caught into the tree. And I'm just like, oh my God, no, 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 no. I don't like this. And I was really upset by it because it's not my taste level. And I'm like embarrassed when I walk out of my house. And I'm like, the reason why I chose to live here was because it's lovely. It's a beautiful 1920s home. And so, what the fuck? Yeah, sorry, I can't tell the story without swearing. Like, it's gonna come out. I'm a New Yorker and I'm like really just I can't get over this. So we did mention to the landlord, like, hey, you know, she can do what she wants on her, like, front lawn bit, because this lady downstairs, let me tell you, she has her own entrance. So in New York City, like brownstone type things, it's like she's in the basement, so she has her own side entrance and front lawn area. Mine is the stoop, and the people with the fucking running child is upstairs. That's my stoop. So why is the lady who takes over the front lawn and has her own entrance decorating my stoop and my front door with ghosts from the dollar store that say boo, and it's all like glittery and all that stuff? So keep it, like, that's not respectful. First of all, you didn't ask. People live here. We pay good money paying for rent. And it's just rude. You didn't ask us, and it's incredibly tacky shit. So anyway, we got over it. Now it's Christmas time. So I was like, she's gonna put tacky Christmas stuff up. She's gonna put tacky Christmas stuff up. I know it. Even though we kind of mentioned to the landlord, like, yeah, we don't really want that going on. And she, like, flipped out and was like, I've been here 20 years. I'm the only one that decorates. And I'm like, well, I live here now. And I want to decorate my entrance, thank you very much, with classy things. So for Christmas, I got in the plant potters, like beautiful, like, concrete planters next to our door. And instead of the fake fucking flowers from the dollar store stuck in them, I got the little shrubbery. So I got, like, the little trees, like shrubberies to put in them. And I put these classy red bows on them. And I put a red bow, I'll get to that story, I put a red bow on the front door. It looks lovely and it's classy. But the thing is, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be like basement lady. I'm going to ask my neighbors upstairs, since we share the entrance, permission. And texted them, hey, since we share, this door and this entrance, and you have to deal with it and see it all the time, can I put this bow up? And they're like, yeah, sure, you don't have to ask, blah, blah, blah. So then I go outside to put the fucking bow on, and there's a tacky candy cane from the dollar store, bedazzled. I can't even explain to you how horrendous the thing is. It's just like, think about everything you can think of on one piece of decoration, and it's made out of cheap plastic, sparkly, tinselly material, and there's bows and candy cane and snowflakes and multicolor things on it all at the same time. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You fucking kidding me? I'm taking this off. I'm taking it off. I'm putting my goddamn bow on. My red classy bow that matches the shrubbery with the bows on it. So I took it off, put my bow on, wrote a lovely letter, was like, hey, it's just like, we're trying to, thank you so much, but, like, I wanted to do this, so if you don't mind, like, blah, blah, blah. And then I, like, packaged up her fucking piece of shit dollar store item in one of my boxes that I send my merch in, that is probably 5 times more expensive than the actual item of her tacky decor. And I, like, placed it there by her door. And then in the morning, I get a message from upstairs. And the guy's like, hey, oh, I'm so sorry, but like, you know, the lady downstairs, she gave my daughter that decoration to put up. No, 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 no. This old lady was fucking scheming. She was scheming. Okay? She purposefully knew that we didn't want that decoration on our door, so she used a child and gave it to her to put up so she can get her way. Yeah. Okay, let me get back to the story. But Peter, thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. No additional comment for that. I really wish I can show you my gratitude a little bit more. Thank you. Darth, that's exactly what it is. It's the crappiest of craptastic garbage. It's like those people who cover every inch of their yard with random shit for every... That's literally her. That's literally her. It's so bad. So, in the morning, I get that message saying, hey, the old lady gave it to my daughter to put up, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? This old lady did it on purpose because she knew we didn't want the decorations, so she used the child to manipulate her way to get that thing up. And then when I walk out the door in the morning, I see that my bow has been ripped off the door, and it's on the ground. They ripped off my bow and threw it on the ground. How rude. How rude is this? So I'm like furious. I'm like, are you kidding me? We go off and do something in the morning, and then on our way back to our house, we come back to the old lady who has completely decorated the stoop in tinselly dollar store trash. There's a fucking snowman face. There's glittery like ornaments everywhere. And then she's handing the child, when the child comes home, like some decorations to put up on the tree, so that the tree that's in front of my window, so that it's like the child put things up so I can't take it down. She did it on fucking purpose, and it is so infuriating. And now I'm in a decorating war. So we asked the lady, like, hey, can you please, like, ask next time? Because, like, we live here. And she just, like, is not hearing it. She just flips out and starts going, I've lived here 20 years. You guys just got here. It's like 6 months ago or whatever. I'm like, Kitty, what? Kitty, come. You're not showing a good side of you to people. I know. I'll play with you in a second. Okay, I'll play with you in a second. I'm almost done. So she starts going into a rampage about how she's lived here longer. Okay, well, now we live here. Where is the respect for people that moved in? Like, I live here. You live down there. The stoop is not yours. You have the whole front yard to fucking trash up and look like it's white trash. The stoop and our door, you don't live here. We live here. Have respect for new tenants, okay? What? You're not showing a good side of you, Kitty. She gets riled up when I'm talking. She like thinks there's something wrong. Anyway, so then she's like complaining that she's been here longer, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And I realized she's like a boomer, like a Slavic boomer. So trust me, I know these types. I'm Slavic. And I'm just fascinated that, like, you would think that, like, elders, the boomers, like, you should have respect for them. I got it. Like, I love old people. They're very dear to me. I would love to do some sort of, like, charity work for old people and stuff like that. And, I don't know, there's something about their old stories. I love seeing their old pictures and seeing the life that they've had. Like, it really, really touches me. But something nowadays with these boomers, because she's not that old, she's just older. She could be like, she's definitely a boomer. And there's something about these boomers that are like very immature. They're very mature. Like, they don't have that old lady, like, or old man kind of like wise matureness that would like understand boundaries, that would understand respect. Like, my front bay window has planters with fake fucking plants in them, fake flowers. That's my window. I have to see that window. And she just took over the whole lawn. She took over the stoop. It's all covered in plastic tinsel. And I just don't understand, because, like, not only were my decorations so much classier, if you go to the classy areas, it's just like real garland and red bow. Just classy red bows and real plants. But this is dollar store crap. Right, Snowball? Slavic boomers are like, it's like my mom and like fucking Bubba. I mean, to be fair, my mom and Bubba are definitely these immature Slavic like boomer types, but they have better taste than this lady. Like, my mom does not do dollar store tap, and neither does Bubba. She does not. No, like, they have like, they're all about like real materials, like marble, granite, wood floors, like nice new. To be fair, they like new things, which I don't like, which is why I have like this vintage like antique sofa and stuff like that. It's like, my grandmother was dating a guy and he died, and got the sofa out of it. And a lot of the antiques that I have are like hand-me-downs, because my grandmother's like, get rid of this trash, it's old. And I'm like, oh, excuse me, old is fabulous, why are you getting rid of that? So she has everything nice and neat and new, but they like, it's like quality. She does like quality, to be fair. But like this, oh my god, dollar store tat, holy shit. And the, I'm sorry, I'm just going on and on and on. It's just like, it's been bugging me nonstop. My uncle just bought an LED Jesus. I hate it. Oh my god, Peter. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my god. Matthias, the neighbor living next to my apartment is just like that. She's a bitch, mean-spirited. She has harmed my dog repeatedly. I hope she gets evicted soon. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's like, I would have respect for the elderly, but this, I'm dealing with an immature person here. Like, I'm dealing with someone that vindictively used a child to get her way, knowing very well. Oh, and then she laughed. It's the second time when we like confronted her about the decorations. It was like, hey, we live here, can you like ask next time? She not only was like, well, I've been here longer, you haven't been here, which is irrelevant. Pay rent and we live here now, so get over it. It's my entrance. But then she laughed at the fact that I was upset for the second time about the decorations. And it's like, you're like really immature. You're really immature. I don't get it. I don't get it. So I'm in a decorating war and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And it's just kind of like, everyone is expecting me to just like get over it and like just let her have her way. But it's like I'm almost 40. When can I play house? When can I decorate? Also, why am I the one having to back down when it's my apartment? It's not her apartment. Where are the boundaries? Where is the common courtesy? My bow was ripped off the door and thrown on the floor. Then my entrance and door was taken over by some crazy lady who like taunts me and refuses to back down and have respect and go, oh, I'm sorry, I was just being nice, like, no problem, like, I understand. You have your whole fucking side of the lawn. Leave my stoop alone. But she can't. She can't. Anyway. No more tacky decorations. Yeah, and someone said, I think before, like, something about, like, doing what you want if you own a house, but if you have a shared space. Exactly. And the thing is, like, we all rent. So, like, it's not even her house. you rent, and you rent the basement. I rent the main floor where the stoop goes. So, bitch, keep off my stoop. I would prefer no decorations because we rent. Why are we decorating? Decorate inside your home. But if we are going to decorate, I want to decorate my stoop. I would prefer you keep your dollar store decorations on your side of the property. Thanks. Yes, she is a bossy person who has done this a long time, and it's inconsiderate and it's rude. And I just don't understand why I'm the bad guy for wanting respect. Yeah. Anyway, let me check in on anything else, but I'm pretty much done here. I don't know what to do about this fucking decorating war. It's just like, I feel like I'm going crazy because everyone around me. Oh, and then let me tell you, the next door neighbor on the other side, they have some flashing light decorations that also play like Jack says, it's like 8-bit, like the 8-bit like video game sounding, you know, like do 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 do, like Christmas music. Christmas music. All day and night. You just hear like, oh god, Tall Kevin wants to play devil's advocate here, and it's let's play devil's advocate. Perhaps it is her attempt at kitsch, showcasing the scourge of cheap, pointless Chinese consumer goods and uncultivated city clutter, paralleling consumerism and slave labor. Kevin, I wish that were the case. That would be very, yeah, that would be deep. But I don't think it's that deep. I think that it is a selfish, immature boomer, Slav boomer, who thinks she gets to run the entire property with tacky decoration. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed when an Uber picks me. I'm embarrassed if someone sees me come in or out of the house. Dave Incognito says, I suppose the vindictive neighbor versus neighbor approach would be to get a cheap plastic trash bin and toss it all the crap into it. Yeah. I was thinking about maybe getting like some satanic displays and putting it into the front lawn and going, I guess we're going into each other's side of the property now. Like, here's my satanic flag. Hail Satan. How do you like that, boomer? If played right for Santa Claus, then I could tolerate with that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did think about maybe putting like a Nazi flag, but that might be a bit much, especially given my reputation. But maybe the satanic thing is better because that's more like religious freedom. Like, I thought we're just putting shit on each other's side of the property now. I thought this is what we're doing. Yeah, it just, again, it just sucks because it's a lovely neighborhood. It's a lovely house. I mean, you guys have seen pictures and stuff. It's just if people could have respect and have common courtesy. I just don't understand how, like, people can't comprehend, like, other people live and, like, there's common like, it is the most, yeah, we've thought about menorahs and, like, just going all out. Like, I don't know. Like, one would think you live there. you know, new tenants. Yes, it's been empty for 8 months, and maybe you got to kind of expand a little, because I've done that. I've had roommates that have moved out, and so there's an extra room. And what do? You kind of spread out a little bit. I would do photo shoots, prop up a backdrop and use the space while it's empty, because it's empty. And then you know what happens? A new roommate moves in, and you take your shit out and go, okay, have fun, your space. Now I'm backing off a little bit. But like, this apartment was empty for like a year, and so she felt like she got to do whatever. But then when new tenants come in, wouldn't you think, oh, new tenants are in, let me be like respectful of that. We pay fucking rent, more rent than her. Kwanzaa flag. I really want to go satanic, because being Slav, it's probably going to really offend her. But I just know it's gonna. I mean, my red bow was ripped off and thrown on the floor, so like clearly I'm not allowed to decorate my own door with a goddamn classy red bow. So, yeah. And then I took out some of the fake flowers and the planters by the door, and I noticed today that fake flowers and planters. Just don't know what's wrong with people anymore. What's wrong with people? Just the most basic common courtesy is just not there anymore. I don't know. I should probably end this stream soon. Oh, I don't know why I was talking the whole time. Picture. Hey, Vaporized Retro Waves. You missed the whole stream. I'm about to get off now. But we went over some post-impressionism, and it was good. It's good stuff. We got some Cézanne, some Van Gogh, color theory. I'm just bitching about my neighbor now. Yeah, it's what it is. I mean, and I'm just like talking in circles now here about it, because it's like it's everywhere. Like, people with their children piss me off, because it's like everything's about the child. Oh, my kid, my kid, my kid, my kid. Oh, kids fucking running and bothering the people that pay rent downstairs. Well, kids will be kids. You can't control kids. Listen, motherfucker, I can control my goddamn cat, okay? She doesn't go on tables or countertops. She doesn't scratch my antique furniture. If I can control a cat, you can control your, like, almost teenage child, okay? Like, 8-year-old. Don't let them run in the house. If you're past 5 years old, teach them how to be a good, decent adult. It's not all about your kid anymore. Oh, the kid. Good night, Darth. Thank you so much. Exactly, Reggie. Kids should be seen and not heard. That's what I'm talking about. You're supposed to teach children to be adults. Because what do? You teach them that it's all about them, and it's always going to be about them, and they always get their way, and you have to pander to them. Then what kind of adults are they going to be? They're going to be the kind of adult that is entitled, that thinks it's about them. They don't think about teaching a child other people have feelings, and like how are you making them feel, and having respect for others is a huge maturity lesson. Okay, it's a maturity lesson. If the younger you can teach a child that others exist and things are not about them all the time, that's a maturity lesson. And now I'm dealing with boomers that don't even understand that concept, have no lesson of that. That's the kind of adult that you're raising, is adults that can't comprehend other people exist. Jester King says, I have 2 kids. My 7-year-old is hard to handle sometimes. My 11 is good unless with friends. You can't always control them because they're individual. Right, and I get that, and that's the thing. The only thing that I expect is like, okay, it's not that the running is going to completely stop, but what I don't appreciate is not disciplining and making excuses for them and going, are you sure? Because I'm not really running. Like, come on. When she goes room to room, in what form is she doing it? Is she just walking like a lady, or is she running? And I understand I'm gonna hear some running sometimes because kids just don't listen. I have a niece that's about that age, and I was living in not living with, but when COVID happened, I went to my sister's apartment and I stayed with her to get out of the city. I was upstate, and she was in an apartment upstate. And my niece was about 8 years old at the time, and she would run inside the house. And I was always yelling at her, stop running, stop running. And if I knew the neighbors could hear it so much and they had a problem with it, I would certainly inform her that, like, about other people. But the reason why I told her to stop running was because it's dangerous. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna fall. You're gonna crack your skull. You're gonna bump into something. Like, it's not safe. So my anxiety about safety was like, don't run. And of course she would do it anyway at times. She would forget. It was just her habit of going room to room or wanting to come excitedly into another place. But what do? Like my cat, you repeatedly say, stop running, stop running, stop running, to the point where they've now got it instilled in them. So I understand kids are going to do things and they're not always going to like get the note on the first try. But what I don't see parents doing is disciplining. They just make excuses and they pander, and it's like all about them. That's good, Jester King. Yeah, there was 100% no running in the house, and they take their shoes off when I'm in the house too. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, like, disciplining is key. So like if I heard discipline, or if, you know, there was some sort of response to me of like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, I will try to maintain, or like just to communicate, like, it doesn't have to be formal, just like chit chat with me about like, oh my god, I tell her to stop running all the time, like, sorry about that, you know, like if there's just some sort of like thing where I can see that you're disciplining. But so far what I see is, oh, the crazy lady tried to manipulate my child to put the thing up, and so you have your bow up, let me rip it down and throw it on the floor in front of my child. That's how I'm going to teach my child how you handle things. You rip people's things off, adult people that pay rent, because it's all about you. Oh, you, the child. And it's just like, no, it's not about you. Kobe, Jester King. Kobe, hell yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, just trying to be like friends with your kid is like, no. The thing, it's spoiling. They just like want to spoil the children. And it's the same thing with pets. That like Godzilla Stomper roommate that I had, she had cats. And let me tell you, those cats, they were going on tables when I'm trying to eat, and I would have to protect my food like this from the cat, and then I would give up and just go into my bedroom and eat. They were up on the countertops. They would sleep on that mat, that little rug that you dry your dishes on. They would sleep on the dish drying mat. And when she sees it, she doesn't discipline the cat. She goes, oh, look how cute it is, and posts it on Instagram. Yeah. My cat does not go on countertops. She does not go on tables. She does not scratch. Oh, another thing is that house was completely scratched up. Completely scratched up. So people just think it's so cute. Oh, look how cute they are. Listen, my cat fucking loves me. She loves me. Cherishes me. But like, there's discipline, and kids will love you for that. My niece might have thought I was a little bit strict. Aunt Tina, she's a bit harsh, but you know what? She loves me. loves me. And I was teaching her math and stuff when during COVID. I was really strict, but she would go, you're a really good teacher. And I'm like, discipline. That's what it's about. They will have respect. Anyway, I've been babbling. I don't know why I'm babbling on and on about this. Wow, Dan, your children are that old. Wow. My daughters are 20 and 16, and we're friends now, but when they were young, it was about discipline. Yeah, exactly. I mean, those are, one is legally an adult, but 16 is pretty fucking adult, and at that point, you can have a different relationship with them, and you've done your job as a parent. You've instilled respect and boundaries and how to be a decent human being. Thinking for others is a real, I mean, they could be 3 years old, and if you instill a concept about other people and their emotions, and they can comprehend that like abstract concept, that is a huge fucking like, not morality, maturity like lesson, and full grown boomers don't have that lesson. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Queen Bodacia. It's just everyone's got goddamn children that they can't control all around me, upstairs and both sides, and then crazy lady downstairs. I mean, it's unfortunate. I just expect common courtesy and respect. You know, maybe no screaming and yelling and running indoors, basic. And downstairs lady can respect the fact that I live here and not to fucking decorate when I don't want her to. Yeah, it should be simple enough, but what can you do? Do you guys ever see that show? What is it called? Fear Thy Neighbor on ID? Is it ID? Discovery, on Discovery. And sometimes I saw one where it's like in Montana, and like tons, like dozens of acres between each other, and they still get into neighborly arguments to the point where someone dies because they gotta, go on their snowmobile through their property because that's the only way to get to the other thing, and that's kind of what everybody's been using. And it's just like, then the new owner was pissed off about it. It's just like becomes this whole thing. So it's just like, you never know. And then there's the suburban ones where they have their own house and it's not shared walls, but then their neighbors are fucking psychotic and do something, and it's just like, you never know what you're gonna get. Send them a link to your etiquette stream. Yeah, it's true. Exactly. After 10:30 p.m., it should be quiet time. So neighbor next door with their fucking 8-bit Christmas music needs to shut the fuck up. It's really rude that people inside their homes. People also work from home. Like, I'm streaming and I like this noise is going, like, it just, oh my god. Okay, I need to be done with this. I really appreciate you guys coming out. I'm sorry that I'm bitching. Queen Bodacia said, I know it would be very nice if people just had some common courtesy with one another, especially regarding noise. It's horrific. Yeah, I mean, like, I wish, I mean, I have examples for you with these neighbor situations, but it's just like, I wish I could verbalize exactly, like, what did I mean as far as, like, just how retarded everybody has become at every age, and that no one thinks of other people at all. And I feel like I live my life running around being cautious and thinking of others to the point where it inconveniences myself. And then what do I get in return? I get my fucking bow ripped off my door and thrown on the floor. I get disrespect. I get laughed at for wanting to decorate my own thing and asking if she can just kind of lay off. Like, I get people just completely inconsiderate all the time, every day. right, I'm gonna shut the fuck. Thank you guys for coming. I really think maybe next stream should be the etiquette stream because those were actually really fun. I know that sounds boring, but if you haven't been to them, they're quite funny because we go through Emily Post's etiquette. She was a leading author on etiquette, and she has very like Victorian kind of etiquette rules, but she wrote this book I think in the 20s, so then it's like kind of trying to be more modern for what the 20s are, I think, to date. And it's just really interesting. Vocabulary is different. A lot of fun. So let me think about that when we're gonna do it. I've got a lot coming up. Got a holiday party on Thursday, going upstate for the weekend, another party, and then I have these comic books I need to mail out and package and organize my stuff. So there's a lot going on, but I want to get back into streaming regularly for a few reasons. One is that I got an email from YouTube saying that if I don't do something, they're gonna demonetize me. Bastards. And also just could use a little bit of money, so it would be good. Make sure I have money for shipping these books and stuff. I have some, but I just want to make sure I do my part where I don't run out. Yeah. Yes, Dan. Remember Mr. Titherington, Mr. Worldly. All right. Well, stay tuned. Do you guys like follow on Twitter? Is that how you got into this, or you see me that I'm live on YouTube and you pop in? A little bit of mix. Let me know. But I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah, I gotta get on the Rumble and Odyssey thing, but I gotta get used to it. One thing at a time, guys. All right. Love you guys. It's been fun. Thanks for letting me bitch. I appreciate it.